So, why, let me ask my own question here, right? I'm going to ask you, what are the biggest contributing factors to the ever worsening problem, or the experience, ever worsening experience for people selling houses in the UK?
Yeah.
Number one, if you search the media far and wide as a first-time seller for the question, how do I choose an agent? The advice is the same everywhere, and it's crap.
Yeah.
It's pick 3. It doesn't say which 3, it just says pick 3. Effectively, the advice is
it could be those beginning with A, B, and C.
Well, they say, look at who's got the boards up. Okay, that's a flawed strategy, because sometimes the people with the most boards have the highest fall-through rate. They're brilliant.
And also they're the bigger agents, and they're more likely probably to treat you like a number.
Yeah, exactly, right? So sometimes it's for the right reason, sometimes it's a strong independent who actually does sell most of the stuff, but it's not a reliable reason to call agents. Number 2, look at their Google reviews. Well, that's just, everyone knows the reviews are manipulated, and just because one person had a great experience doesn't mean it's the right agent for you.
Yeah.
Because it's personal choice. So, and then ask for recommendations and referrals. Well, that's a terrible idea. Unless you're asking someone who's just sold a house just like yours and had a great experience, then yes. But if it's your Auntie Glad who sold 10 years ago to her mate's son...
It also might be the 1 in 10 that had a good experience. You're never going to find the 9 in 10 that had a bad experience with that agent.
Again, it's an unusual thing, because in most other industries, you can ask friends for recommendations to local businesses.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in agency.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, because it depends on your property, your circumstances, so many things. So, and that's what the media always says. In fact, I called out Graham Norwood on this, because he gave this advice in last weekend's Daily Mail, how to choose an agent. So, Graham, no. And you should know better than this. This is not good advice. It's the same advice being trotted out by the media for 30 years at least.
Because it's been reread and reread and regurgitated for decades.
And has it ever resulted in consumers making a better choice? No. So that's reason number 1, is the poor advice from the media, which is basically pick 3 at random.
Yeah.
But the reality of their advice is pick 3 at random. You pick 3 at random, and there's on average at least 15 to choose from, right? There's an 80% chance you're missing out on the right agent. You pick 3 out of 15. You've got a 20% chance that by luck one is really good one.
Yeah.
Next problem is the entire lead gen industry creates an unearned advantage for agents who spend the most on lead gen. So consumers tend to ring whoever is paying for that lead, whether it be Google Ads, whether it be buying banners on Rightmove, whatever they might be doing, right? People will tend to, they think they're picking 3 at random, but it's not random. No. It's the 3 that they've noticed the most because of whatever lead gen, whether it's a lead through or whatever it might be. Those, and generally speaking, larger businesses, you spend huge amounts of money on just churning out awareness so that you're the one that gets picked as one of the 3.
Yeah.
Right? Again, there is absolutely nothing to suggest that the people who spend the most on lead gen, another example, right? Agents who pay for a product like Home Search. Any agent can pay for Home Search. It does not mean they're going to be any better at selling your house.
No, they're just marketing them.
But it's like, but the consumer's like, ooh, looks nice. Yes, but he might be a shit agent. Shit agents can. Home Search is a nice product, right? It's not a reason to instruct an agent.
Yeah.
But of course, the first time seller doesn't know the better.
So the upshot is the worst agent can spend the most money.
Exactly. Automated valuation tools. I mean, what a load of bollocks.
Yeah, but that's just lead gen. That's all they're for.
And it's counter to the interests of the movers. Because everybody who has one of those on the websites knows. First time sellers, first thing goes, what's my house worth?
What have you seen recently on the market, who of course, as a property portal, pledged not to have any tools on their site because they wanted it all to be agent-led. Jason Ted, the new CEO, has changed all that. He's now trying to catch up and compete with Rightmove and Zoopla, basically on the market are the same as Rightmove and Zoopla as far as I'm concerned. He's added an automated valuation tool onto his site. Have a look at what people think of that automated valuation tool. They absolutely panic, as in it's inaccurate.
They all are.
Yeah, and so no, it's doing on the market huge damage because people think, well, I don't want to use on the market or one of their agents because they're all undervaluing my property. Oh, not going to. It's so counterintuitive. But on the market, think that everyone's putting in their email address. We can then sell or give that email address to an agent. That then is a hot buyer. But by the time you go back to that hot seller, rather, you go back to that seller, you're tainted.
Yeah.
You know, I've got your inquiry from on the market. No thanks. Yeah. It's completely counterintuitive.
And so you know, smart. Any kind of online valuation tool is nothing other than a trick to get your contact details.
Yeah.
Well, that's a shitty way to get off to a relationship start, by deceiving people into giving you their contact information so that you can ring up. And then, you know, one of the best known valuation tools. I mean, I like the people behind them are great people and they've got good businesses and whatever, but it's not helping the consumer. It's actually making the consumer's decision-making process harder and worse.
Yeah.
You know, the most effective ones are saying, oh, 18% of the people who give you their details will turn into a valuation. So 82% don't want to hear from you.
Well, it also means that, you know, typically 50% of valuations come on the market. So out of all those leads, only 9% of properties will actually list, and you'll probably sell half of those. So actually only 4.5% of those leads turn into money. 4.5%.
So this is an example of why I think lead gen is a dirty word that should be spat out, because as far as the movers are concerned,
yes,
it works against their interests at all times.
Yeah, and an agent should be very suspicious about leads. So the main portals, by whom I mean Rightmove, Zoopla on the market, have started to manipulate and harvest leads that they call leads that are not really leads. So drunk people at 3 AM looking at £2 million houses just in case I'm in the lottery. And then they click through to Rightmove and it becomes a lead. Rightmove count that and just say, 52 million leads we had last year. And then you think, hang on, we saw what I wrote a few months ago about the actual conversion rate of a Rightmove lead. It's 2%. That's just conversion of lead to someone that actually is a house buyer stroke seller, which means that 98% of what they do is completely and utterly worthless, doesn't monetize. But Rightmove, on the market, Zoopla, have all made a lead easier to create as a consumer, so when you're the drunk person 3 AM, because they then use it to justify their ridiculous price increases to the industry a year later. The Rightmove rep walks in, I still remember this at eMove, big smile on his face once a year, make him a cup of tea, hello James, I know what's coming. He says, well, we can either do this the formal way, where I'm going to go through the presenter and tell you how great we are because all the leads are up and this is up and that's up. And then you say, but James, I'm going to end up paying 12.5% more this year than last year anyway, aren't I? And he smiles and says, yeah, you are. And it's all based on trick metrics, vanity metrics, because leads, to me, a lead is something that comes in and has a reasonable chance of converting into something proper and tangible and get the teeth into and convert into revenue. Rightmove's definition of a lead is a metric they can show the city that uses the leads, inverted commas, to justify stronging their price up every year to their agents so that their ARPA goes up from 1,000 to 1,200 quid a month. Now, what's Rightmove's target? Let's not forget, £2,000 a month. Rightmove's chosen target for agents.
And you see, the thing you haven't even mentioned is that to an actual mover or consumer, they will tell you that you make an inquiry on Rightmove, you do not hear back. You know, but unless it's a higher value property.
Yeah, but why would you as an agent, when 9 times out of 10 you ring a lead,
this is my point,
and the bloke at the other end of the phone or the woman says, I don't even remember clicking the button, mate.
It's astonishing how much money that company makes for the almost zero value that it adds to it. Do you know, if Rightmove vanished tomorrow, it would make zero difference to the property industry.
Yeah, of course, because they're regurgitating the agent's own stock. It's like me taking the shirt off your back and charging you 50 quid for you to wear it. So problem number one, movers, the advice from the media is bad. Problem number two, lead gen leads to sellers making unwise choices. Yeah,
okay?
I agree. I can't believe we're agreeing, Charlie, on this.
Well,
there was a time when we didn't agree on much, but yeah.
And problem number three is most sellers, when they do have agents around, don't really know what they're asking or why. They don't really know what to look for.
Yeah.
In an agent.
And they ask the wrong questions. Yeah.
Because they all make this subconscious assumption the first time out, which is my house is worth the same no matter who sells it. That is an assumption that they're making. Because you would never pick an agent based on fee unless you've made that assumption. Yeah. You would have to believe your house was going to sell for the same price no matter who sold it. Now this is an innocent mistake. It's made out of ignorance. It's not made out of stupidity. So, all of these lead to a terrible experience before you've even got to conveyancing. Right?
Yeah.